Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're talking about my favorite topic, and that's reticulated pythons. If you're one of those folks that's never had one before and you're considering getting it, and you're in the process right now doing your research, I wanted to sit down, spend some time today to kind of let you guys know what you can expect, what you're going to need, and kind of share some of my experiences as I've had mine and kind of grown up with them as well. So you definitely won't want to go anywhere, and we'll see you when we come back on Intrepid Exotics. Now, primarily today, this is in response to a question that I'd gotten from one of our subscribers, and that question was, my next snake is a reticulated python, but I still have a bit of fear. Can you do a video on reticulated python keeping? I'm going to buy one in March for my birthday. So first of all, kudos to not just going out and impulse buying one. This is definitely something that you guys want to research and get familiar with ahead of time. And well, like I said, we'll go ahead and do our best here to give you as much information as we can, and maybe show you some avenues to get some good handling experience before you jump in with both feet and bring one home with you. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Let's go ahead and jump downstairs. We're going to get hands-on and see what we can learn today about keeping these awesome apex predators. As always, Nile's over here. My Nile monitor, I'm just going to have to turn this around so that he can get his moment. So this guy right here, every time I start filming, he wants to come out and see what's going on. Now, I'm going to do a whole video on this guy. He is a lot of fun, but he is a really challenging animal. For any of you guys that got any interest at all in monitor lizards, reticulated pythons, hell, berms, anacondas, anything, you guys will notice I've got my New England Reptile distributor shirt on today from Nerd. Kevin McCurley and his guys out there are really awesome, man. They put out some really cool stuff. And of course, since we're working with retics today, I thought the hands, it's what's for dinner, would be an appropriate shirt. Hopefully this doesn't stand true today. My retic back here, I've had her since she was a baby. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the pictures of when I first got her and show you the exponential growth that this girl's experienced. So this right here is 22 months ago when we first brought her home, and as you can see, she has grown quite a bit since then. So we're going to get her out and let you see what 22 months worth of growth looks like on a female retic. Of course, always keep your enclosures locked up. Many reasons for that. You'll hear me talk about that a lot. You see me, and she just ate maybe a week ago, and she's already excreted that, but I'm still using the hook. I always use the hook to open the door when her head's there. And you can kind of see her behavior right now. She's got them really long tongue flicks, and she doesn't look like she's got anything of a food response going on right now. She just wants, she's already been out a couple times today anyway. Yeah, I let her out every chance I get. But I don't ever rush it when I'm working with these guys. I want to make sure that all of my steaks have got plenty of time to process what's going on. We're not in a big hurry. We've got all day. I can sit here, just kind of mess with her and let her get used to the idea that she's, getting ready to come out of the enclosure, getting ready to get my hands on her. And, a lot of times what I'll do is kind of wait for her to just go off and start exploring on her own, like she's doing now. And, make a little contact with her. She doesn't really want to play too much right now. And this is an unusual behavior for her. She doesn't typically start bucking up on me like that. But, Stop touching me! Okay. So she is really on point today. So this is a really good demonstration of how when you're first going into the enclosure, you want to stay, at least a couple feet back from that snake's head with your first contact, because you need to feel out what their frame of mind is, kind of what their mood is. And especially since now she's raising up and tensing up a little bit on me, I'm going to give her a little bit more time, wait for her to start, you know, going out and exploring, and staying in that same area away from her head. Now when she turns around, I've got plenty of time to pull back. She doesn't make any contact with my hand. It's not to say that she had any intention of biting me. So there's nothing bad about this interaction at all. This is simply her reacting. She's not being aggressive at all. She's not even being terribly defensive. She's just reacting to me first going into the enclosure. And it's all, like I said, natural instincts, and those are the times that we need to back off a little bit, give them some space, and let their mind work, and let them figure out what's going on. Come on, girl. Come on. And like I said, we don't get into a hurry when we're handling these guys. And I do everything I can on her terms as much as I can. So the first thing I'm going to do is get her in a good position. And get this basking platform off of her. This is actually a really good example of why you do have to have a little bit more experience dealing with retics than you do with the smaller snakes. You know, this girl right here, like I said, she's a sweetheart. She's used to being handled. And today, for some reason, she's just really hyper. So, okay. And you'll notice here too, in a second when I start turning, I have my back to the camera for a second. All I'm doing is making sure that her head is pointed away from me for the first, 10-15 seconds or whatnot that I've got her, just to make sure that she's comfortable, make sure that she's not agitated and trying to double back on me. And you'll find too, when they get honed in, if you do have a snake that's agitated and they're trying to zero in on you, you can turn with them like that and it breaks their focus. Ultimately makes them a lot easier to manage. So you can see, I just weighed this girl this morning. She's right at 45 pounds now, and I'm guessing her weight, or her length rather, she's probably pushing 13 feet. But you can see how active she is. And this is trademark retic behavior. Typically as soon as they get out, they want to run, they want to start checking stuff out. And this girl right here, even though she's already been out today a couple times, she looks like she's ready to run. So now again, pay particular attention to how I've got her and how I'm not letting her wrap around my neck. I don't know if you can see it or not, but she's already got my leg wrapped up down here. She's hanging on and anchoring herself. It's kind of their way of keeping one foot on the floor. But anytime you've got these guys out, one shoulder is all you do. She starts working her way around my head like she's doing right now, trying to wrap around or whatnot. She's not doing it maliciously, but they're semi-arboreal snakes, so they're used to latching onto things to support their body weight. And the more body weight they've got, the harder they're going to latch on, the more muscle they've got to latch on with. So you do have to be really cautious when you're handling them. But this is a really good example too of you seen when I started to take her out, she started to buck a little bit, started to kind of speed around her enclosure. It didn't look like she was really keen on the idea of being handled. So, you know, when you run into stuff like that, just kind of slow down a little bit, and like I said, let their minds acclimate to what's going on. And then once you do that, you kind of compromise with them a little bit and work with them as much on their terms as you can. Now she's trying to use a snake hook on me. So I've got some other things that I want to go into. So I am going to put her back, much against her will, I'm sure. How you doing, girl? You're being crazy today, huh? Come on, sweetie. Get on in there. So I'd probably handle her a little bit longer and talk with you, but chasing her around and the fact that I keep it nice and warm in my reptile room, I'm going to go up to a little bit more comfortable setting. And just a reminder, this is what they look like when they're young. Those cute little tiny reticulated pythons. And then a couple years later, this is what you've got on your hands. And you need to be prepared to house those and feed them and make sure that you've got more than one person available to help handle them and everything. So as you can see, there's quite a bit that goes into working with these animals. And, you know, going back to that initial part of that comment down there about still being afraid of retics. I think, honestly, I think all of us that manage these snakes have got a healthy fear of them. And, you know, by a healthy fear, I'm talking about the same type of fear that an electrician has regarding electricity. You know, they work with it every day. It can be dangerous. It can hurt you. But if you do things right, you understand the process and you follow those processes, they can go in, replace all your circuit breakers and not get hurt. And it's the same thing with dealing with large constrictors. You know, of course they can hurt you. They're large apex predators. They've got 6 rows of recurved teeth in their mouth. They've got an enormous crush pressure, you know, with the larger animals. So they can be dangerous, and you need to respect that. That being said, you know, especially as you get into more and more generations that are bred into captivity, and these animals are used to being socialized and used to being around people, and they realize that we're not a predator. You know, they're a lot easier to manage. You know, you've just got to put in the humble effort with these animals to know that you're 100% in control of what you're doing, but you're never in 100% control of what the animal's doing. And I was really fortunate that she decided to act out a little bit today, just because that shows, you know, the things that you need to do to respond to what she's doing. You know, not merely reacting. There's a difference between reacting and responding. My reaction, when she turned around really quick, was to pull away and step back. My response to her doing that is I stepped back and gave her a little bit of space, kind of reevaluated, and approached her from a different angle. You know, as you can see, there's no malice, there's no meanness or aggressiveness in that animal at all. They're reptiles. They've got that instinctive reptilian brain, and you've got to kind of be able to plug into that and not misconstrue things. For you know, you don't want to get mixed signals from them. Every time I've ever had a bad experience with a retic, it was because of the mixed signals. You know, it's because I was in a hurry, I was moving too fast, I was overconfident, and I just wanted to get in, get the animal out. Well, you know, that doesn't always work in your favor. You really need to spend the time learning how the animals think, and then, you know, having the confidence to work through things like that. You know, things like that where they turn around on you and you know, calmly manage the animal. Now, one thing too that I would absolutely suggest is, if you don't have any experience dealing with larger snakes, definitely get out there in the community. If there's any reptile shops near you, find the folks out near you that deal with large constrictors. There's there's folks all over the place, all over the country that have got these animals. And the best way for you to really get a feel for how badly you want one, and how comfortable you're going to be working with them, is to find somebody that will come down and mentor you. It's okay with you coming over and seeing their animals, spending some time showing you how to handle them and so forth. Especially if you know somebody that has multiple 12-foot plus retics, that would be an awesome way to get out and get started. One thing I noticed is my first experiences with retics is I had gotten 2 of them. I got this female here, and then I'd gotten another male who was about 7 years old. And I managed my own animals. I had my own way of working with them. And then I had an exposure to a lot larger number of snakes, and male and female, a lot of mature snakes. And you start to see that how you work with one, how you act with one, isn't always the way that you're going to work with other ones too. So it's a huge benefit to get your hands on as many animals as you can, because ultimately when your snake's getting 12, 14, 16 feet long, you need to have some experience and you need to know what you're doing. And the only way to do that is just get out and do it. So my whole goal here today is to just paint as clear of a picture as I can about what it's like to get started with retics, and what it's like to keep them, and some of the key points that we need to be aware of. By all means, if there's anything that I've missed, let me know down in the comments. If there's anything you'd like to see more details on, what next video is you guys like to see, anything you think I'm doing wrong, by all means, get in the comments and let me know. And then like and subscribe and get notified so that you guys can keep up with me as I put the new stuff out. I'm answering the questions that come in, and you can any of the suggestions that you had, you can kind of double check and make sure that I'm making the corrections I need to just be able to put better content out to you guys. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I want to hear from you guys out in the comments, and until next time, you guys have an outstanding day, and let's get the work week started, and I will see you next time on Intrepid Exotics.